the United Church of Canada called for proposals to start new ministries. In Peterborough, Ontario, a tight-knit group of Christian social activists responded to this call with a proposal to start a learning center that is faith-based for community development. We named it the Bedford House Community Ministry. Thus began the research journey using a spiral methodology, which means pose a theory, try it, evaluate it, adapt it, and try again. We asked, how might a small, under-resourced group of people from a variety of faith streams and none make a significant difference in our community? In a series of 6 workshops, Lynn and Alan Smith-Reeve, United Church ministers trained as community animators, will share the lessons learned, the practices that worked, the surprises, the stories, and the outcomes of their experiments in community making. Smith-Reeve gathered community members to help them in this 7-year research project. More than 50 participants in 4 bridging teams resulted in bonds of trust and friendship, all of who gather now as the Neighbors Network. Together, those volunteers created something really special, something life-changing. Individual donors also support each bridging team core expenses through a Catalyst fund.
Here we are, Lynn, at our kitchen table where the Bedford House Community Ministry all began, and we're feeling privileged today to be bringing you news of our online course that's coming to the ChurchX platform. We call it Bridging Poverty and Privilege, creating courageous space where community can flourish. We're really excited to be bringing you the lessons that we've learned from the past 7 years of experimenting with 4 different bridging teams along the way.
The course features storytellers, folks with lived experience of poverty. We'll also look at various resources that we've studied together. And there'll be discussion questions for you to reflect on either alone or if you're doing this with a group.
We've been blessed along the way to have been sponsored and supported by all 3 levels of the United Church of Canada.
Our work is based on the simple observation that like people hang out with like people, wealthy people hang out with wealthy people.
Well-resourced middle-class people tend to socialize with other well-resourced middle-class people.
And low-income people or under-resourced people tend to hang out with other under-resourced people.
People who are working class, precariously employed, or underemployed. And while our United Church congregations are amazing examples of communities where give and take, giving and receiving happens, the business model of your typical Sunday morning congregation depends on the fact that I might have disposable income to put in that offering plate as it passes by each Sunday morning. But what if I can't contribute in that way? Do I really feel like I belong? Do I feel like I'm contributing in that Sunday morning church model? Doesn't seem to fit for everyone. But isn't the good news of the gospel that we all belong at the table? Our 7-year journey has been an experiment in creating community that is inclusive of folks from all walks of life across those socioeconomic barriers that divide us.
In our Bridging Teams experiment, we've brought together people from different classes, and we've studied together what keeps us apart. And as we've studied together, we found that when we create a courageous space where we can eat together, we can laugh together, we can learn together, and tell our stories to one another, this amazing thing happens. The Spirit shows up, conversations deepen, and sacred moments happen as authentic community grows.
So those spaces are carefully crafted with practices of hospitality, dignity, and curiosity that we'll tell you about in the course. And, even though our focus has been on socioeconomic class differences and talking about the systemic causes of poverty, we've found that the participants in our bridging teams also bring with them differences of race, gender, physical ability, and neurodiversity.
In this series of workshops, you'll learn about bridging teams. That's the model of community making we've been engaged in. Our hope is that you will learn practices in this course that you can then take and use to create courageous spaces in your context, spaces where sacred conversations can happen and that will deepen the relationships our communities need to thrive.
Our experiment began with high hopes of being able to walk with people across that bridge out of poverty. And it has happened, and it is a long bridge to cross. But what we've found over and over again from participants is that the major outcome has been a sense of belonging. And that outcome is perhaps the most Jesus-honoring outcome we might have hoped for. As people eat together, share stories, share laughter, learn together, study together, pull apart their differences, make mistakes, apologize, and begin again, bonds of trust happen. Belonging grows and community flourishes.
Watch for our course on the ChurchX platform. It's called Bridging Poverty and Privilege, Creating Courageous Spaces for Communities to Flourish.
See you there.